muscle up. 2 dips. Gonna do that 5 on each side. Hello again. So if you guys have been following along, there was no video yesterday because I signed up for jiu-jitsu classes. It's actually an MMA gym, so it's not just going to be jiu-jitsu. I plan on branching out into MMA, boxing and stuff as well. But just starting off with jiu-jitsu. And yeah, so on days that I do that, I can't put a video out the next day. Well, not can't. I could probably do an earlier workout and then record that. And so yesterday I did do a little bit of steel mace swinging for like 30 minutes and some stretching during my lunchtime before heading to work. Or no, then after I was done with work, I went to jiu-jitsu class, which was a lot of walking, a total of about 3 miles walking back and forth. And yeah, so anyway, back at the playground today. Starting off with steel mace 360s to pull-ups to warm up. Doing 10 each side. I'm gonna keep it recording as I warm up, but in between sets I guess I'll kind of recap yesterday's jiu-jitsu session a little and some of the things that I noticed. And moving into pull-ups. I'm going to do 5. In any case, so yesterday during practice, what I noticed is, so like there's a lot of exercises that we do in the gym, so like sit-ups, side bends, stuff like that. And like when you're actually like so I bet this applies to not just jiu-jitsu, it probably applies to rock climbing or a lot of sports pretty much, as to where you're kind of like putting that together constantly and like putting those movements together constantly. So for example, the particular thing that made me think about that is, so there's multiple times while doing certain moves in jiu-jitsu that you have to like you're on your back and you have to lean to the side and grab something, or like kick your legs up, which is like a lot of lower abs and stuff. But it's not like you keep performing. So like with sit-ups, it's like you do 10 reps, then, or with leg raises you do 10 reps. You know, you're not doing unless you specifically train this way, you don't go from a sit-up to a side bend, then back into a sit-up, and then a leg lift to a sit-up, if that makes sense. So like you're doing all these motions in like a sequence and trying to achieve certain goals, and when there's an opponent involved, like as if they're pressing down on you, you're almost doing it sometimes with a very weird resistance being applied on you. So what it made me think was, if I get good at handling my own body weight and doing and getting a really strong core and stuff, it'll probably translate really well into that kind of setting. Another thing that I noticed is, So the last time I did jiu-jitsu was probably a year and a half ago, and when I did do it that time, I got a pretty bad pulled groin, and it kept me from working out properly. Well, was it a year and a half? It's more like 2 years at this point, but it kept me from working out properly for a while. Like, I couldn't do certain leg exercises and stuff, and so since then I paid a lot of attention to doing mobility work. Especially for the adductors and hips and hip flexors, and I feel like it paid really good dividends last night, because like, I don't feel sore today, and like towards the ending the rolling sessions were pretty hard, so it wasn't like just a drill session. And I remember the last time I did it, I would feel really sore the days after I did that, but I think after doing all this mobility work and things of that nature, I felt a lot more comfortable in that setting, and I feel good today too. So, you know, looking forward. So I'm probably gonna sign up. I also like the culture of the gym quite a bit. Everyone was really friendly, and so I'm probably going to sign up for 2 classes. Well, I'm going to pay for unlimited classes, but just to start off, I'm going to go for 2 classes a week, maybe 3 on some days. And yeah, so I'll be going tomorrow, but I will try to put out a video even though I'm going to do that. So yeah, I'm going to do this for a bit longer, and then it's going to be kettlebell complexes, steel mace complexes, and like body weight movements. So for the second set of movements, I'm going to do 5 steel mace 360s, then go to 5 curls, switching sides and repeating. And then moving into alternate 10 to 2 swings for 5 each side. And then ending off with muscle ups. Just doing 3, and then I'm going to be doing that for so this was my second set, and I'm going to do 5 sets. I'm not someone who's really good at doing muscle ups, and so by keeping the rep count to 3, I'm not exhausting that system too much, and between one set to the other I'm still able to get good muscle up reps. And so kind of going with what I was talking about earlier is I want to get really good at handling my body weight, and even if that means getting a little lighter, like if I have to shed a few pounds to be more comfortable in the way I handle myself, then I think that's the right way to go, specific to the task I'm trying to get good at, which at this moment is like jiu-jitsu. And also, like 15 pounds steel mace to do the curl is not very much weight at all. But between handling the mace for the 360s and doing the pull-ups, the biceps are at work during the entire movement. So even though the curls by themselves aren't super heavy, by the end of it, it still taxes the biceps quite a bit. Switching sides to even it out with the muscle ups. That was set 3, gonna do 2 more and then on to the next thing. Alright, so for the next set of movements with the steel mace, doing a steel mace ladder. So going to start off with 1 360 on each side, then 2 I'm gonna do, so now 3, and I'm gonna keep doing it till 5. I may have done 1 extra, but it is what it is. Then for the body weight movement, sticking to muscle ups, but I'm going to add 2 dips on top. So looks like this. I'll do it the other way. So muscle up, 2 dips, I'm trying to go really deep on the dips. This was my second set. Probably gonna do 4, maybe 5. Should I record 1 more set? Yeah, let's record 1 more set. But do I have anything interesting to say? I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but working out with the steel mace also requires your forearms to be like super activated for the whole duration, and so like, and also you're bending your elbows like at pretty deep angles as you're swinging it behind your back, and it really helps in my opinion with the elbow and shoulder mobility, and also strengthening the forearms. Another thing that I noticed in class yesterday was when people would put me in like a kimura. A kimura is essentially a move where your hands held like this and it's like pushed this way to essentially put your shoulder out of socket. And I found myself being really comfortable when people were trying to do that to me, like in the sense that if they still went hard, eventually they could dislocate my shoulder, but like since there's a lot more range of motion and strength in that region, like it didn't feel super uncomfortable to be there. And having your joints in essentially all sorts of weird positions, if you're able to get yourself feeling strong in weak positions, or at least comfortable in those like deep ranges of motion, then I think it helps with pretty much every sport, I would say. Yeah, dips, pull-ups, or muscle-ups, dips, or whatever. So yeah, gonna do this for one more set and then on to something else. So for the next set of movements, doing a moving step up snatch with the kettlebell. So going to start with so if my left leg is forward, I'm going to snatch with the right leg and with my right hand, and then the right leg is going to be a little behind the left leg. So going to snatch it and put my leg on this at the same time. Then going to step up, come down, and repeat. Gonna do that 5 on each side. So a good full body movement there. A little bit of explosion, some stability, a lot of core involved, some legs involved as well. I messed up my flow there a little, but no matter, we will regain it. Man, my balance is off on this leg. Man, why am I messing it up on this side? Alright, focus. And then finishing off with 5 count pull-ups. So gonna hold on to the bar and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, gonna do this for a bit. This was my second set. Yeah, it was my second set, and gonna do 2 more. So moving into some abs before I go into some kettlebell juggling. So for abs, starting off with upside down sit-ups. Getting my legs wrapped around, and gonna do 8. But at the end of each rep, I'm going to kind of let myself hang. Then going to do 3 toes to bar. Just for a little additional burn. That was my second set. I'm gonna do 2 more sets of that, and then into some juggling. Moving into some juggling. I'm just gonna go into the first sequence, and then let's see if anything comes to mind after. Not bad. On one of those flips, it really like hit the watch pretty hard, but no damage done. But yeah, all in all, pretty good workout. Definitely a lot of body weight focused stuff, and as time goes, I think in the future workouts I want to throw some more body weight kind of stuff in, get my body feeling really comfortable handling its own weight. And I've never been able to do things like planches or handstands and things like that, and maybe, you know, now's or the upcoming future is as good a time as ever to start training those things. Haven't eaten yet today. Had 2 cups of whole milk and some, oh yeah, so I'm no longer free of diet soda. I had some diet 7-Up, but not too much though. So a couple of videos ago I was seeing like whenever I have diet soda I tend to have a lot of it. I was able to keep myself at just a couple, so you know, that's an improvement. But yeah, no real reason as to why I didn't eat except the fact that I'm really busy at work, and you know, a lot of people are out on vacation, so there's a lot of extra work being spread across like a thin team at the moment, so you know. Alright, on to the next sequence. Didn't throw it high enough and spin it hard enough. Now let's do some more 3D movement, shall we? Not bad. Not bad. An hour and 30 minutes into the workout, and also during lunchtime. So since the sun isn't out as long as it usually is during lunchtime, I'm making it a point to spend 30 minutes in my backyard, at least, even if it's not for a walk, to stay outdoors without my shirt, kind of play around with my light steel mace, do some mobility work and stuff. Yeah, and maybe tomorrow, since I'm doing jiu-jitsu, that's probably what I'm going to have to record, is what I do during my lunchtime. So yeah, that might be tomorrow's video. Oh, so last video, the microphone stopped working way through. I realized that one of my microphones is defective, so whatever the setup that I bought the mics with came with 2 microphones and 1 receiver, and it turns out one of the transmitters, so one of the microphones, for some reason won't pick up audio. So that's weird, and I can't remember anything happening to it. Oh well. So what happened was, in the process of recording, one of them lost battery life, and then I switched to the other microphone, and then that one was defective. So I charged the good one up, and that's what I'm using right now. Yeah. But there was a point I remember I made in my last video that I'm going to say after I do this. Come on. Let me get a good one before I start talking. Come on. Anyway, I'll just make the point. So, when I was a kid, I would play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, like, there's all these buttons for different kind of tricks that you can do. So if you go like, let's say from a kickflip to I don't know, tail grind or whatever, whatever, some sort of grind. For every variation of move that you would do, you would get like a combo meter or a multiplier, and it would keep increasing. And that's kind of what kettlebell juggling feels like sometimes. It's like when I'm doing different tricks and moving along different ways, it feels like. So another thing is, as you do more tricks and that bar fills up, usually your odds of falling also increases in the game. So kind of with the kettlebell, it's similar in the sense the multiplier keeps going, but as you're getting more exhausted, you're more likely to drop the kettlebell. And so at least when I'm in my mind, it's kind of fun to visualize juggling that way, as if it's like a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater video game, but every time I'm pressing different buttons, it's actually kettlebell flips or different kinds of kettlebell flips. That's okay. Threw it too hard forward. No, well, still having a pretty good session here. Okay. Hey. Thank you.
What are you doing?
Just working out. Huh?
She's working out. Working out?
Yeah.
Why you come here to the gym? Why you didn't go to the gym?
Because I can't throw my stuff in the gym. Huh? Oh, if I play soccer?
Yeah.
No, I play basketball.
Because I don't really go to I play football.
Nice. Some kids stopped by to say that they thought what I was doing was cool. Alright, last sequence. Alright, that was a pretty good thing to end on. Yeah, that's all for today's video. See you all tomorrow.